Hi everyone, this is my After Stamp Wars video. We had Stamp Wars on Saturday night at Nancy Stamps YouTube channel. We had two mystery guests, Star Patrick and Lynn Anderson. Lynn is the owner of Blue Knight Rubber Stamps, who was our sponsor. We each created 3 cards using the Day at the Lake stamp set and designer paper. I had the Stormy Sky designer paper. This is my first card. This was the daytime card. We were each to create a day and a night card. This is my nighttime card. And we were to use some other type of medium for our background. I used pan pastels to create this little square card. Now I'm going to show you the giveaway set. We're going to be giving away Day at the Lake stamp set as well as Land and Sea paper pack. This is the Stormy Sky paper pack. And again, we're going to be giving one lucky winner this Land and Sea paper pack as well as Day at the Lake stamp set. You have to comment on my video in order to be eligible to be selected for the lucky winner. So please leave a comment below. Now I'm going to be creating with the back side of the Stormy Sky. It has a rainbow and some clouds. I'm going to be creating a scene with the tree and the peninsula as well as the large rowboat, because the Land and Sea set comes with 3 different size rowboats, and I'm actually going to be using the medium rowboat. Take that back. No, the large rowboat. Yeah, okay. Yeah, the large rowboat. But I actually grabbed a stamp set from my stash. This one is called, let me grab it here so I can remember what it's called. This one is the Silhouette Cattails. Now it's meant to be a a landscape card, but you know, I'm making a portrait card, so I'm just using the cattails from this Silhouette Cattails stamp set, and I'm just inking the bottom. I'm not inking the branches, just the cattails. So this is creating for me the water in the foreground. I already stamped the tree off to the left side. Now I have 2 of these Tim Holtz stamping platforms, and I actually kept the tree in one of the stamping platforms because I'm going to stamp it again just to get a more vibrant impression. Now you'll see that the cattails, I kind of cut off a little bit on the left, but that's okay because I'm going to trim my paper. Now this is the peninsula from the Day at the Lake. I really like this peninsula. What I'm showing you is you can take a piece of cellophane from a package to get your impression if you want to see what it looks like before your final stamping. So what I'm doing here is using a piece of acetate, and you're going to see me use this piece of acetate over and over again for using creating my scenes. Using the acetate just gives me an idea of where to place my image and just gives me a little bit more confidence in my stamping. You don't have to do it like that. You can just go ahead and go with it. It's okay either way. Now I'm going to be using the rowboat, and I was debating as to whether I should use the swans, and the swans come from a stamp set called Silhouette Swans. So I go ahead and I'm going to be using the smallest rowboat that they have and the medium size swans. Now actually there are 4 different swans. So let me grab it and make sure I'm telling you the correct size. Looks like I used the next to the largest on the swans. Yep, the next to the largest. So the next to the largest on the swans and the smallest rowboat. This is creating a little bit of depth. So you want your images that are closer to you to be larger than the ones that are far away. And that's why I used the different sizes here. Okay. I'm going in, I'm using the VersaFine Clara Nocturne ink, but I also sometimes use Catherine Pooler Midnight ink, which is fine. You can switch it up. Now I told you that I had 2 of these Tim Holtz stamping platforms. I'm going to go ahead and stamp my tree again just to get a darker impression. And I'm using Ultra Clean to clean my stamp. Now I have this stamp set from Blue Knight. It's called Mini Greetings 1. I'm going to use Thinking of You, and this takes me a little bit of time just to figure out where do I want to place it. So I place it over the rainbow. I know the rainbow is a little bit hard to see because my lights are so bright, but anyways, while I'm doing this, let me tell you a little bit. Blue Knight Rubber Stamps is a mom and pop stamp company. They go around to shows all summer and fall all across the United States, showing people how to use their products and how to do pan pastels. So I was first introduced to Lynn and Scott, the owners of Blue Knight Rubber Stamps, through Nancy. She was formerly on their design team, and of course she loves their stamps just as much as I do. They're very well known for their silhouette stamps. They make all kinds of stamps though, not just silhouettes. And their designer papers are gorgeous. During Stamp Wars, which if you didn't get a chance to watch it, please head over to Nancy Stamp's YouTube channel and watch it. We had a lot of fun with Lynn, the owner of Blue Knight Rubber Stamps, and Star Patrick. She's part of our Foiling Snobs Club. She was our guest as well. So we had 2 mystery guests, which that was a lot of fun. I was the host. I made everybody create 3 cards, 1 day, 1 night, and 1 blended with some kind of medium of their choice. So I used pan pastels in the background. I think Nancy used ink. Lynn used pan pastels, and Star Patrick used some color bursts or brush shows. So that was really nice to show you that, you can make all kinds of backgrounds on your own and then go grab these silhouette stamps. Anyways, as the sponsor, Blue Knight Rubber Stamps gave us a coupon code, and that coupon is SW20. It is good for 20% off stamps, dies, and stencils in stock. That's stamps, dies, and stencils in stock at BlueKnightStamps.com. So thank you to Lynn and Scott for this generous coupon, and this is expiring on midnight, May 31st. So head on over there, do your shopping, support this wonderful company that generously has provided sponsorship for Stamp Wars and also given us something to give away to you all in return. So really exciting. Now I'm using Silhouette Swans. This is the cat tail on Silhouette Swans, and I'm stamping it multiple times because this designer paper is kind of dark at the bottom. And then I'm going to go ahead and stamp it again a second time with a little bit lower on the page. Yeah, and I'm using my acetate here. This is just acetate that I had saved from my stash from a stamp set, whatever. I don't know where it came from, but it's a nice sturdy piece of acetate, which I keep here handy at my desk so that I can get an idea of my positioning, whether it be my sentiment or my actual image. All right. Go ahead and use the rowboat. I use the medium rowboat. And by the way, this paper is from Night Sky 2. So it's a beautiful moonlight. And I've got the rowboat kind of rowing away in the moonlight. And I'm using that beautiful tree from Day at the Lake, and I'm using it to make sort of a branch around the actual scene. And I'm going to use it at the top as well. And I'm just moving it around the paper to where I need it. And using my acetate. Okay, so during Stamp Wars, I made people do sabotages. So for 20 minutes, they had to use the opposite hand. I'm sorry, for 10 minutes, they had to use the opposite hand. And then for 10 minutes, they had no stamping platforms. They couldn't use any stamping platforms. And then I asked them to tell a story about a time they were on a boat. So they had to actually talk while they were creating. So those were just some fun sabotages that I threw in. Yeah, so it was just a lot of fun. And I have been out of practice making videos. Work has been super busy, and I've kind of, taken a step back from creating videos, but I am going to be joining the Blue Knight Rubber Stamp design team starting in July. So you'll be seeing more videos from me in the future. This panel is complete. I did not add a sentiment to this scene. I can always add one in the future. For my final card, I'm going to be using Pan Pastels. Blue Knight Rubber Stamps offers several palettes that you can choose from. This one is called Sunrise Sunset, and it comes with the soft knives and some soft tools. This one is called Day and Night. It also comes with some soft tools and a soft palette knife. And they have the tints, which are like the pastel colors. So these each come with 7 colors. It comes in this handy dandy container ready to go for you. And it's a great way to store your pan pastels. And you can get these over at Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. I have combined mine into larger palettes that I have. And these are some of the tools that I use. I have lots of soft tools, soft blending tools, these palette knives. I also have some makeup sponges that I've purchased along the way. So as you can see, I keep all of mine stored in just a old box that I have. You don't have to wash them. You can clean them off by rubbing them against a paper towel, a clean paper towel, a clean dry paper towel. All right. So I've basically added mine into a larger palette and just basically by color family. All right, so I'm just going to use this reverse cloud stencil. I lost my regular cloud stencil from Blue Knight Rubber Stamp. I'm going to have to get another one. I don't know where it got to, probably at the bottom of drawers somewhere. I'm just using some Hammermill 80-pound paper, just trimming this down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And I go ahead and start with some light blue. I did speed this up for the sake of time. The most important thing you want to remember is to keep your paper still and just go along your stencil with whatever color you're choosing. This is an old makeup sponge or a makeup sponge, not used. You don't want to take one of your makeup sponges that you already used. And I'm just going with some blue. The bottom part's going to be my water. I'm also using some magenta, and it was like, holy crap, that was a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and grab some light pink and try to blend that a bit. And this is really dark. Actually, I end up flipping my scene, and I'm going to use some blue for the bottom. And I'm going to start over again with my bottom using this reverse cloud stencil, trying to create some water at the bottom. Pan Pastels are made in Pennsylvania. They are an ultra fine artist quality pastel. They remind you of an eyeshadow or some kind of makeup, and a little bit goes a long way. So Blue Knight Rubber Stamps worked with Pan Pastels to come up with some palettes that are great for getting started. I worked with Golden Artist. That's the name of the company where the pan pastels are made. So I'm going to go ahead and take some yellow next, and I'm going to take one of the knives and just go ahead and blend some yellow along where this cloud outline is. I'm just trying to create sort of like a break in the clouds to make it more sunny in this area. And like I said, I did speed this up for the sake of time, but I'm going to go ahead and color this in with this real light yellow that I have. And then blending that with this little, it's like a pointy tool. It kind of comes to a triangle, the head of this palette knife that I'm using here. And then I'm taking one of my soft tools and just trying to blend it. Now I'm going to do the same thing here, going over this with this bright yellow. This is sort of like where the cloud is outlined. I'm going to take my reverse cloud stencil and just go with some blue. Now it looks like I'm using some of that magenta. And I'm going to use some yellow. And then I'm going to be blending some yellow here and then some blue at the top. And I messed with this scene for a little bit, trying to figure out how to do the top. I was just trying to make some clouds that were sort of like pink. Well, I wasn't really happy with it. So I'm just taking my eraser and I'm erasing it because that's the beauty of working with pan pastels. They're as vibrant as ink, sometimes even more vibrant than ink, but you can actually erase. So thank goodness for that. I'm grabbing a cloud stencil that I had in my stash because like I said, I can't find my Blue Night rubber stamp cloud stencil, and I really wanted to create sort of like a puffy cloud scene. If you don't have a stencil, you can just use a piece of cardstock. Just cut it out with your own freehand design to make your clouds. And then here I'm using like some blues and stuff just to create sort of like streaky pinks, purples, and blues in the sky. Now I'm going to grab my blue, go around the top and the sides. It's not as pretty as the designer paper from Blue Night rubber stamps, but I'm happy with this, and I think it looks like a pretty sort of sunset sort of scene. All right, now I'm going to go ahead, my Tim Holtz platform. I'm going to use Midnight ink on the peninsula and create sort of an island coming out from the side of my scene. Okay. I'm going to grab that tree, stamp that off to the left side, of course. I'm going to ink it multiple times. The beauty of a stamp platform. I'm using VersaFine Clair ink now. I originally used Catherine Pooler Midnight ink. It just wasn't taking as well. So I switched over to VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink, which took very well. All right. Now I'm taking the large rowboat, the large with the rowboat person, inking that up multiple times. And by the way, notice the wooden block on the back of my ink pad. I'm using the magnetic ink pad handle from Blue Night rubber stamp. This wooden ink pad handle attaches to your ink pad. There's a little metal plate, and the wooden handle has magnets in it, which makes it so much easier to handle your ink pad. This is a really great thing that Blue Night rubber stamp has created, and it works so well. I use it every single time I'm inking. I have multiple of them. There's the original, and then there's the slim one, and the slim one fits on the back of your oval ink pads. Next, I grab the Birds 2 stamp set, and there's actually a duck. So I'm going to stamp the duck twice, and it's going to look like two ducks flying away from the rowboat. I'm using my acetate just to make sure I get the perfect, positioning on this. This is this is VersaFine Clair Nocturne ink. I don't know why I keep saying Memento. I rarely use Memento ink when I'm doing silhouette stamping. I'm going to go ahead and place my duck again, and there will be two ducks flying away from the rowboat after I practice on my acetate to make sure it's in the perfect position. When you're stamping these smaller images, you don't have to press really hard. Just press gently, and you can ink it up more than once to get a good impression. If you press too hard, it'll kind of blur, make it more like a blob, take away from the actual image itself. Next, I'm going to be stamping these trio of birds. Again, this is from Birds 2. I just like the way it looks, as if the birds are in the background flying out of the tree. And then I'm going to, after I'm done stamping my birds, I'm going to go ahead and grab the mini greetings too and stamp the words "just a note" off to the side of the tree. Again, when you stamp those little birds, don't press real hard, just press gently. You can always do it multiple times. You don't have to press really hard. I'm still using acetate on my platform here just to make sure I get the birds positioned in the right place. Now I'm taking my acetate away. Make sure you clean your acetate really well. You don't want to transfer any ink onto it and then onto your paper. Clean my acetate. I'm going to put it back on and practice where I'm going to stamp the words "just a note." I'm happy with that. I'm going to grab one of the small tip applicators that you can purchase from Blue Knight Rubber Stamps. They're softy tools. I'm going to grab my ink and just color in the bottom here with that little applicator so that it looks like the land peninsula is filled in at the bottom. And then I grabbed some of my Midnight ink by Catherine Pooler and got the sides to match the same color as the edges there. You don't have to do that, but I felt like I wanted to do that. Next, I took my Aquanet hairspray and I sprayed the panel because the Blue Knight Rubber Stamp team recommends that on the pan pastels you do some kind of way to make it set. And you can use hairspray, or I think Nancy uses Krylon matte. Yeah, so I'm just going to trim this to make it a little less than 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 so that it fits on my card base. Doing the same thing with other of the other panels that I created. And then I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner and adhere these to my card bases. And for the sake of time, I'm going to speed this up. Okay, don't forget, you can use your sand eraser if you see any ink that was left on your page. I had a little bit of ink that transferred, probably from the acetate. All right, now I'm going to go ahead and use my tape runner, put these down onto the card base. Now, don't forget, head over to Blue Knight Rubber Stamps using SW20 to get 20% off. That's BlueKnightStamps.com to get 20% off all stamps, dies, and stencils that are in stock. It does not include the papers. Sorry about that, folks. I'll go ahead and put that out for you so that you can have a closer look at the coupon code. And don't forget to leave a comment below to be entered into a chance to win the Land and Sea paper and the Day at the Lake stamp set. If you're new to my channel, please like by giving it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button so that you can be notified of my future videos. Don't forget to head over to Nancy Stamps YouTube channel to watch Stamp Wars and watch Nancy's follow-up video, and join the Foiling Snobs Club on Facebook where you can see Star Patrick's follow-up short. And don't forget to subscribe to the Blue Knight Rubber Stamps YouTube channel. Thank you very much to Blue Knight Rubber Stamps being our sponsor. Head on over to BlueKnightStamps.com to shop and use the coupon code. Thanks so much for watching. Have a hopeful day. Bye-bye.